outside of this podcast, you've done that to me.
What?
Outside of this podcast, you have done that to me. Like, I don't really think I've got the space to learn something new. And I'd be like, Sapphire, I promise this is like the best thing since sliced bread. You'll be able to do this, this, and this in like a day. You had your moment.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 2 weeks ago. You had your moment. And I saw your face virtually light up because you made something in minutes.
In minutes. Yes.
And how long would it have taken you to do that task if you were to honestly take that task on without
I had
the use of
literally
AI?
done the task the week before, and it took me like 3 days to do the very thing that you taught me how to do in like 10 seconds, a minute. Welcome back to another episode of Soul Shift Sessions podcast, where we have deep, transformative conversations to help you transform your mind, to transform your life. I'm your favorite freedom and financial wellness coach, Coach Sapphire Starr. And today I do not have a co-host. However, I do have a special guest with me today, Coach Kyle McCloud, the AI King. He don't know it yet. I gave him a name. The AI King. We're going to have a
Deal. I feel doing a podcast all by yourself today.
It's scary because I feel like I don't have you to bounce off weirdly or oddly enough, but you're still here, obviously. But it's like the role is on me. So it feels like, oh, I'm. Don't want to be. So but I'm excited. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. But before we get into the conversation, guys, make sure that you are following us. Make sure that you are subscribed to wherever you listen to Soul Shift Sessions on YouTube. We're on, where are we? Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon.
Spotify,
We
YouTube.
are on all the things. And you can follow us and find us at www.soulshiftsessions.com. Today, we're going to talk about what's in your AI toolkit, how AI supports creativity, business, and mindset with my favorite co-host, Coach Kyle McCloud. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Thank you very much. It is wonderful to be here. I've never sat in this seat before, but I sit in this particular seat every time we record. But the seat is different today.
It is very different, very different. Before we jump into the conversation, tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So my name is Kyle McCloud, obviously, and I've been a coach and facilitator for over 20 years now. And it doesn't seem like that long, but that's probably because I still feel like a kid.
Yes.
Still waiting to grow up.
That means you still like and love what you do.
I like and love what I do. I have 2 children that keep me young. One is turning 16 and the other one will be turning 18. I don't even know what that's even
Wow.
like.
Wow.
And throughout the time, I have been a part of multiple businesses, 2 of which towards the end did not go the way I would have liked them to go. But one thing you always said was, you're either winning or you're learning. And one of the biggest things I've learned over those past 2 businesses is what AI can do for us and what we can do with it. And it's been an interesting journey. And it's one of those things where technology has advanced so fast. And I feel that it's advancing even faster now that we have AI as a part of our lives. For the end of the week, we'll probably see a new AI tool out there. solve the problem.
The next best thing.
The next best thing.
Yes, absolutely. Now, when you say what's in your AI toolkit, what exactly does that mean?
Well, first of all, we have people that are hardly, if at all, using AI. And for those people, they're probably finding themselves doing things the same way that they've always done them. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, it doesn't allow you to really expand. And then when I talk about this, I mean, yes, I do talk about the average person who doesn't have a business and how AI can be useful in their lives. But that's not really my goal. My goal is to help entrepreneurs increase revenue for 2026. I have multiple programs that are geared towards that. And when I add that AI element to it, entrepreneurs are seeing that there are things that they are doing that AI can do for them. And if you have something that will do this task for you, that frees you up to go do something else that is also pressing for your business. It's like having an intern slash assistant. Now, why intern? Why intern? Because an intern doesn't know everything when they hit the job. They might know some things that they got from school, but they don't know everything. And if you treat it like an intern, you'll treat it as someone or something that doesn't know everything, that still needs some input, it still needs some training, it still needs some massaging in order to get the result that you're looking for. And I believe that treating AI as if it's an intern and doesn't know everything is the way to go. When you treat it as if it's an expert in anything, you're liable to run into a little bit of a challenge. And you're liable to run kids lie, adults lie. Kids will lie. And you know what else will lie?
AI will lie.
That's called hallucinating. No, it's not hallucinating. It's just making up some stuff and telling it to you like that's what it is.
I love that frame that I don't want, yeah, maybe reframe or frame the way you frame that in terms of how someone can use AI in their business as a partner or as an intern, but also in the way that you also are teaching it, about who you are and your business. I do believe some people fear that AI is going to take over, right? That's the dun 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 dun. AI is going to take over. And so my question is, how do you retain your voice and your identity while using AI, especially in a creative world?
Well, there's two things that you just mentioned there. So I'd like to address one of them before I get to your question, which is the AI taking over the
Yeah.
world. You're right.
Not what?
I don't know if AI will take over, but the question is, are we going to live in the age of Star Trek or are we going to live in the age of the Matrix?
Mhm.
A lot of people think the Terminator. And I think that's a fair assessment. Will it be the Terminator? Will it be the Matrix? Or will it be Star Trek?
Yeah.
I was hoping Star Trek, but the problem, in order to get there, we have to have unity on a global scale.
Mm.
We have to have global currency, and I don't see it. At least I don't see it in my lifetime. And the way it's advancing, it can definitely cause a little bit of concern. But your question was, how do I retain my voice? And the way I retain my voice is by one, interacting with my core. And when I say my core AI platform, this is the platform that I'm going to when I'm going to do all the other things. If I'm going to do a presentation, I'm going to my core AI first to create the prompts that will go to the tool that I'm planning on using. For some people, that core is ChatGPT. For me, it is Claude. For others, it's Gemini. And maybe it's something else that's out there. But that, to me, that's your foundation program that you're most likely using to create whatever it is that you're going to create. And the way you maintain your voice is by training it on you without releasing information that is too sensitive. We'll call it personal information. I don't want to tell it my credit card numbers. I don't want to put in my social security number. But if there's information that can be easily gathered by someone just by doing a Google search, I feel like that's okay. And the way you retain your voice is by not assuming that everything that comes out of this platform is correct.
I love that.
You've heard me say in the past, question everything.
Yeah.
And you also would, it's a good idea to question your results that you get from your AI platforms.
That is profound. And I like how you introduced, your like in the line with the question of what's in your toolkit. You started with, you think about what's your core tool in that toolkit, right? And maybe it's a hammer, that one tool that's your foundational tool, and you called it the core AI. And I love that introduction to it, because when I was first introduced to AI, I was very reluctant. And then my introduction to it was Chat GPT, and I thought that was it. I had no idea there was a world of
Out there.
AI tools out there. Nonetheless, how to even
And it's still
and
growing.
nonetheless, even how to use them. So I like the foundational core AI as a building block to what's in your toolkit. And so for someone that is tech shy or maybe not tech savvy, who wants to begin using AI, what is something that they can start using, or I don't know if it's a mindset or actual tool, to begin considering that feel safe and supportive?
The first thing to consider is realizing that you're already using AI. Every single human being that is getting online and doing any type of Google search or some other kind of search, you are using AI. Because at the top of the results, you get an AI response, then you get the list of all the matching sites for your query. And if you look a little bit deeper, after that AI response, there's like an option that says dive deeper or something deeper with AI. And I can enter into a conversation with most likely Gemini if I'm doing a Google search. I can enter a deeper conversation about whatever it is that I'm asking about. That's the first thing, is accepting the fact that you're already using AI. Whether you realize it or not, you're using it. Then, what do I want to do next? How do I want to use this next? It's already here. There's nothing I can do about it. I can either put my head in the sand and act like it doesn't exist, or I could go ahead and immerse myself into this technology as best I can. I don't think that people really understand where we are. There was a time where we had a horse and carriage. Then someone made a car.
Yeah.
The car was super expensive. Only certain people had it. However, the people who were making cars, they're not making it just for the elite people to use, because then sales are going to die. I need everyone to buy my car so that I can make money. Therefore, the price will come down as the technology increases and the cost of materials change and becomes more affordable. We've seen that happen with cars. There was a time where everyone didn't have a flat screen. And if you wanted a flat screen, you had to pay an arm and a leg for it. And now you can get a flat screen for under $100. A good flat screen for under $100. I still have my first flat screen.
Wow.
And it still works very well. And so we went from the horse and carriage to the car. Then from the car, we also had the industrial age. And then from there, we went to technology. And I want people to understand that mankind is going to keep progressing along. And as new things emerge, if you choose to deny the existence or choose to deny the place or role that it has in everyday life, you end up being left behind. This is what happened to BlackBerry. If you remember, everyone had I should say everyone had BlackBerry because I never had one. But if you were in business,
Yeah.
if you were an executive,
They were handing them out like candy. Yeah.
right. And then, and it's an interesting story, Steve Jobs did not want he did not want a phone. The team had to convince him that the phone would not replace what he was thinking, but it would be a good pivot to add to. In other words, it's not going to replace your iPod, because if you remember, the concept of the iPod was it 1 million songs in your pocket, or like a
Yeah.
ridiculous number of songs in your pocket. And the developers had to help them understand, like, we can do that and this. But Steve just knew that the phone companies were going to dictate how their product went out. And they were committed to not being dictated to how it worked out. And if you think of it now, the phone companies are Apple and Android kind of dictate how the phones are going to be marketed, how they're going to be sold, how they're going to be used, and all the things. They're dictating it, not AT&T and Verizon. So the point there is we have to embrace whatever's coming next. Otherwise, we are going to get left behind. I don't want BlackBerry's story to be my story, because their CEO refused when it came to the phones, the touch screen, and all that. He believed that people wanted buttons to type their messages and so on and so forth. He believed that that's what they wanted, and that they were not gonna pivot from that. I remember one of my friends, iPhone's cool and all, but I just don't see it taking place over BlackBerry in the business world. I just don't see that happening. And where's BlackBerry? Have you ever seen a BlackBerry since?
No. It's obsolete. It's
Obsolete.
yeah.
So the question that you had was really, how can we use it, especially if we're not using it? And once we've accepted that this is what it is, that it's here, it's not going anywhere, and there's opportunity behind it, now we start thinking about, well, how can I use this in my life? Have you ever heard people go into the refrigerator, they have all this stuff in the refrigerator, they have no idea what to make for dinner?
Yeah.
Why not use AI to say, I have these ingredients in my refrigerator, what kind of meal can I make that would be different than what I traditionally make? And see what comes up. It might come up with a recipe that you never even thought was even on the radar.
Yeah, it is definitely my assistant in business and in life when it comes to helping me organize my chaos. Once I
Absolutely.
accepted it as a useful tool, and once I learned, that was another thing too, because I think it was this fear or this reluctance of having to learn something else, and I think that's what happens with people of a certain age. You've been learning for a long time. You get to the point, it's like, hey, nah, do I really need, like, your brain becomes saturated.
Outside of this podcast, you've done that to me.
What?
Outside of this podcast, you have done that to me. Like, I don't really think I've got the space to learn something new. And I'd be like, Sapphire, I promise, this is like the best thing since sliced bread. You'll be able to do this, this, and this. in like a day. You had your moment.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 2 weeks ago. You had your moment. And I saw your face virtually light up because you made something in minutes.
In minutes. Yes.
And how long would it have taken you to do that task if you were to honestly take that task on without
I had
the use of AI?
literally done the task the week before, and it took me like 3 days to do the very thing that you taught me how to do in like 10 seconds, a minute. Like,
I'm gonna get out my coffee.
I literally the day before. So it's like you planted the seed, and I'm such a step 1, step 2, step 3 thinker, but I first have to accept what it is that you're saying for my brain to be like, okay, because I'm an overthinker, but I'm also a very strategic thinker. So I'm always thinking not just what you're telling me on the surface, how this looks, you know, 20 steps down the line. And so that's where my brain is like, okay, what is this? And I go and I vacillate back and forth. And so that's the challenge for me. But once I am introduced and I can see it in action, and I'm like, and also how I can apply it to my life and what I'm doing, I'm like, oh, okay, tell me more, you know? So, and I'm sure that can be a lot of people's challenge, or it just may be, I don't believe in this AI, or just complete hard stop. I don't want to have to learn this. But I love what you said is you're already using it. Is already a part of your life, whether you want it to be or not. So why not at least learn the basic fundamentals? And I'm glad we're having this conversation with Coach Kyle about, okay, where can I start? What are the core AI tools that I can use? And I want to ask you, you know, what's the most transformative AI tool that's in your toolkit?
Right now, it's probably Replit. That's and there are other platforms that are very similar to Replit, like N8 or N8EN. I don't even remember what it is because I don't use it. There's another one called Lovable. And on the surface, you see what they all do relatively the same thing. Some are maybe a little more technical than others. The bottom line is there are a lot of things that I can now do that 2 years ago I could not do. If I said, okay, I'm going to make a funnel for a digital product, maybe it's an ebook, I got to write the book. I got to come up with the graphics for the book. And then I got to make the funnel for the book. So that's 3 major tasks that I have to do. And it does not happen in minutes 2 years ago. It might take a week. And that's only assuming that you're using a core program like ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude. However, now in 2026, well, I'll say 2025, you can go from concept to implementation in less than 24 hours.
Game changer.
That's a game changer because now you can literally come up with an idea and come up with another idea, put it out same day. Create your marketing, it ties everything in. The real question is, how do I make sure I don't overdo it with the different tools?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like we said earlier, you can come up with something today, and then tomorrow there's a whole nother product that meets all your needs. So I never do lifetime memberships anymore. Because lifetime membership is just going to lock you into something, and then you're going to be like, oh, but I like that tool over there better.
Yeah.
I rarely pay for things for the year up front because I know that something else is probably going to come along later. Now, I did get Replit for the year. I did do that for the year because it was until it proves that it cannot do anything that I need, then I'll look at something else. But for now, I am we're in a full-blown relationship right now.
Can
Well,
you explain to someone, because I know we're introducing terms that people may not understand. Can you explain to someone what you mean by having a core AI and then having and using it with other AI tools? Like, what does that look like for the
absolutely.
novice person, the lay person? Like, what does that mean?
I think that one example that I can use has to do with presentations. Because whether you are a business owner or not, it's very possible that you may have to do a PowerPoint presentation or some type of slide deck presentation, whether you're getting up and speaking to a front of people or if you're in a conference room talking to your colleagues or your team. I am not the most aesthetic person in the world. You are 10 times more aesthetic than I am. And when I say core, I'm literally talking about ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and I'm going to go with those as we'll call those the big three. Yeah, I have found that most people are using one or a combination of those three tools. But I'm going to use Claude, for example, because that's the one that I use the most. I want to make a presentation for my team about the goals that we want to hit for the first quarter of 2026. I might even make an outline of what I want that to look like. And then here's where the trick comes in. Instead of going to PowerPoint, because we know that PowerPoint is you build it yourself, unless you're using a tool like Copilot that comes with Microsoft. Unless you're using a tool like that, you're most likely designing it from scratch. With the world, you notice that people are not even saying PowerPoint anymore. Like I say
That's
it, but that's where I come from. People are tempted to say
slide
slide
decks.
deck. Yeah. Right? They say, why are people calling this slide
What?
decks? Why? It's PowerPoint. PowerPoint is like Coca-Cola, right? It is the name of the product, but it is not, I'm sorry, it's the name of the company that makes the product, but it's not the product.
Oh, I never thought about it
No,
like
tissue is
that.
Kleenex.
Yeah.
Yes, tissue is Kleenex.
Right.
No,
It's tissue.
it's facial tissue if we want to be
Right.
exact.
So PowerPoint is the brand.
PowerPoint's the brand, right? Or it's the name of the product that makes a slide deck.
Ooh.
Slide deck is what it is. PowerPoint is the program that we use to make that. But there's another one called Beautiful AI. There's another one called Canva. You can use Canva. There's all different kinds of tools out there to make slide decks. You can use Google Slides. Bottom line is there are different tools to make a slide deck. Now, in Claude, what I'll do is I will say what I want. I'll say how many slides I want. And then I'll say, now create a prompt for Gamma. Gamma AI is a presentation software. And so instead of having to figure it out in Gamma, I'm going to let my assistant do that. My assistant Claude will take care of that. So I'm using AI to talk to AI.
Wow.
And if we work in our prompts, and when I say prompts, that is me telling it what I want. If we get more creative, if we pay attention to some of the people that are on social media that are much better at this type of stuff than we are, you might even see in a post. You don't even have to subscribe. You don't have to follow. Just look at the post and look at the way they're structuring the prompts in their post. Example, I did a prompt yesterday, allowed me to create an online calendar that lists all of my classes and we'll put it in a calendar form, or I can flip it so that it looks like a list. All of that I could not do with my own level of thinking. I can say in Claude what it is I want, how I want it to look, and then ask me questions as if you were an architect. So that way, when we come up with this calendar, that it's right the first time. We don't want to keep going over and over and over again. The architect part, that was a new one for me because I hadn't thought of it like that. But when we're designing, what are we doing? We are being an architect of whatever that thing is that we're creating. And having it just inserting those words, ask me questions as if you're an architect. 10 different questions. Questions I hadn't even thought of. Such as, well, do you want a separate page for your calendar? Or do you want like a miniature calendar on the same page? You know what? I think I want both. Why we gotta be either or?
Right.
And so as it's asking the questions, my mind is starting to see it differently about what's possible and what I can have on this page that will make it more dynamic.
Listen, one thing I can appreciate about AI as a person that's a creative, a person that is an entrepreneur, is that
Mhm.
it affords me the time to really focus in on the thing that I love to do, which is the creating part. And the
Yes.
tedious things and the time-consuming things you have to do after you create something, it can do those tasks for me, and it frees up my time to do the things that I say I want to create. And really, like, if you're a CEO of a company, you're more of the strategic, you're the strategy, you're the one that coming up with the ideas, right? And so now you have a partner, now you have tools in your toolkit that can help you execute those things, and you can stay in your realm of, I'm the CEO, I'm the one that's coming up with the ideas, the strategy. And so
1000%.
now you have a partner, and it's no different than if you had an assistant, if you had an intern, if you had someone that was helping you. It's just another tool. It's not to take away or eliminate. It's something that you can accentuate and add to what you're already doing.
I attended a conference last year, a tech conference, and some people from Microsoft were there, and they talked about the reason why they named it Copilot.
Mm.
And when I heard it, it made so much sense.
Yeah.
One of the mistakes that people tend to make is that they will make their AI platform be the
Pilot. Yeah.
pilot.
Shouldn't. Yeah.
No, you're the
Yeah.
pilot. They're the
Yeah.
co-pilot. And if you maintain that relationship, you stay in, not only do you stay in charge, but you also see the co-pilot as being fallible. It can make mistakes, but together we can make less mistakes. So that's one thing. The other thing is, you have often said that we can get further, faster together than by ourselves.
Mhm.
I really don't have a desire to have a large team of people within my company. I just don't have that
Yeah.
desire. And AI has made it so that I can operate mostly by myself, but I still need the further faster
Yeah.
aspect. This is why I have a community of entrepreneurs. Being able to bounce ideas off of them, being able to share my ideas, being able to share my wisdom, and them sharing their wisdom with me allows me to go further faster. And I don't have, so they become my team.
Mm.
But the thing about AI, I used to work at a company where I was a trainer as well as a COO. And I wanted to do like the COO stuff. Wasn't really interested in doing much training anymore, but it is something that I am good at. I am very good at taking something that can be relatively complex and breaking it down to the point where it becomes easy to understand by the layman person. So when I got a new role at a tech company about 2 years ago, I got a request for a class, 2 classes actually, one of which I teach with my eyes closed, and one I have never touched in my life. Never, like, I did not even understand what the words meant. And one thing about being in the training world, if someone says, "Hey, can you train us on this?" The answer is always
Yes.
yes.
Actually,
The answer is always
yeah.
yes. Even if I can't do
At
it
that
right
moment.
now, the answer is
Yes.
I will figure
Yes,
it out.
I can.
Oh, what happens next is I come up with the outline for both classes. The second one was data analytics. The CEO of that company theoretically can teach that class. She has the background. I just gotta come up with content. And when they asked for the proposal, I submitted it, and I really didn't think anything of it. Come the next year, at the beginning of the next year, they're like, "Hey, we want that class. We want that class, the one that I know nothing about." That means I came up with a good outline. I did a good proposal. By the way, proposal had to be done using AI. Now I have 2 things or 1 thing that I need to do. I need to create the book. At the previous company where I was before, we had an instructional designer. She made the books. She did the graphics. She did the exercise and put it all in the book. I don't have an instructional designer, but I do have AI.
Mm.
I use a platform called Jasper AI. I don't use Jasper very much at all anymore, but for that time period, it was perfect at creating the book because it could take a section that was this and make it like
Mhm.
this. I could expand it. Now I have my book. I use a different AI tool called Designer to make the look pretty. All I need now is my CEO to teach that class or a consultant. I get a consultant. That consultant bails on the class the day before. The class has to be taught, Coach Starr. CEO does not have time to prepare for this class the next day. A couple hours. I go through the material. I use AI to make sure I use AI to make sure that I understand what I'm reading and can communicate it. Basically, the AI and I are pulling the one-nighter, an all-nighter, I should say, getting prepped for this class. And that's the one thing I think that's different here than what's in the past. In the past, if I didn't understand a concept, where was I going to get the answer to understand it? Who was I going to call? Where was I going to find it explained to me in layman's terms? But in AI, I can say, explain this to you like I'm in 5th grade. Explain this to me as if I am 5 years old and need to understand data analytics.
In 24 hours.
Less
Less
than.
than.
Less than 24 hours. Because I got the news at 2 p.m. The class starts at 10 a.m. the next day.
Wow.
And if it wasn't for what was available with AI, not only would I not have been able to teach that class as I had been teaching it all my life, I got called back to teach it again in DC, in person.
Wow. Wow. What a great example of how to use what's in your AI toolkit and be successful with execution and delivering a concept and an idea in a very short period of time. Because you know me as a financial wellness coach, I always share with my clients and my audiences that time is your most valuable asset. And how do you buy back your time? Well, AI is a great tool to assist and help you with that. So I love that story and you sharing that story. And we're now at my favorite round, my favorite
Uh-oh.
part
Oh,
of social
your mind is going. They're
questions.
distracted.
And we're in season 3. We do have a new batch of questions, but I have a special set of questions for our very special guests here today. Are you ready, Coach Kyle, for the rapid fire round?
I am so ready. I'm so ready.
Okay, let's go. Number 1, an AI fear you've personally had to overcome.
I don't I I don't know if I would say this is an AI fear because it's already happened, which was I n- I needed to create a proposal. So not a proposal. I need to submit resumes, and I need those resumes formatted a certain way. No, 16 of them, and it actually lied on someone else's resume. It took what they said and changed what they
Oh,
said.
wow.
It said that they had worked at that company that we were submitting for, and that they were not only did they not only did the client find this resume like this person never worked here, and not only did they never work here, the things they said they did here, we didn't even have that technology. So that would have been my worst fear, would be submitting work to a client and it being found incorrect and looking really bad in front of the client.
So you had to
So it's no
trust.
longer a fear because it has already happened, Coach
Right.
Star. But if we were before that, that would have been the
Biggest
biggest
fear.
fear. And the secret fear I feel that I have is the Terminator
Mhm.
situation.
Bringing it back full circle.
It's still in there.
Yes.
And the reason why it's there now is because I've seen a robotics company, I think in Boston. If there's a 60 minutes segment about what I'm telling you, where they had a 200-pound robot that, all right, this is the scary part. When we want to train things, we typically type in the code and then we instruct the device or the thing on how we want it to work. They didn't do that with this. They put sensors all over the person that was the journalist, like a special suit that had sensors on there. They had him walk and talk as if he was delivering a segment to the camera. They recorded everything with this. Then they plugged that data into an AI model where it created thousands and thousands and thousands of robots. And all these robots had to do the movement that the journalist had. So some of these are falling over, some of them were falling back, some of them are clunky. But as the failures are happening, it's also getting more and more correct to the point where they had this robot doing the movements precisely as the journalist. Hands, arms, legs, body movement, it's doing it all. And it trained itself
To do it. Wow.
to do it. That's
That's
scary.
scary. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Great answer. Great answer. Number 2, what's something that AI made easy for you this week?
That's going to be my calendar.
Yeah.
I do not know from a coding perspective what goes into making what I just made in less than 24 hours. I have no idea. But if what came out was better than what I had
Yeah.
imagined, it was more functional than what I had imagined. And it was created during a work, not an entire day, just between the hours of 10 and
Yep.
4.
Doing our productivity call. I love it. I love it. Last but not least, what's your number one prompt everyone should try today?
This is a prompt only for people who have a relationship with their AI. In other words, ChatGPT knows about you. It knows, what you do. It can look at all the conversations that you had, be able to kind of get a feel for you. And the prompt is, what are the things that I am doing that you can see where I am possibly missing the mark, blind spots, or sabotaging my business?
Repeat that one more time. What?
What are the things that I am doing that are blind spots, that are hindering or even sabotage my business?
I love that. I love that. Guys, make sure you enter that prompt in your AI tool, let's say your toolkit.
Your core one, your
Your
foundation core.
core toolkit. If you don't have a toolkit or a core AI you want to learn, and Kyle, this question is for you. How do people, because I know people can listen to things and they may be like, oh, okay, but they may be asking for more. Like, how do they get more in depth or get coaching on how to even build out their AI toolkit?
First of all, I did a class with Coach Sapphire Starr
Yeah.
once, and I did not know what I was in for because I thought we were going to a class. What I did not know was this was a full contact sport, because we're going to do while we're learning. And that's one thing I really appreciate about you, because every class that I have is dedicated towards doing while learning. I have multiple workshops, but one of which is obviously what is in your AI toolkit, where we get to look at the different ones. We'll talk about at the core level, what are your core programs? What are the programs you use for creativity, such as creating presentations or doing artwork? We'll look at the marketing side of things. And I feel like those three, because it's only 90 minutes. And I try to make sure that these sessions are somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours, depends on the workflow or what's being done. But that is a great place to start, because you'll get a chance to learn about the different tools that are available in the different categories, and then choose which one is the right tool for you. We'll also talk about the cost, the free versus paid, what's worth it, what's not. And for those who are really like, I use AI, I know what's possible. But remember, this year, 2026, is dedicated towards increasing revenue. So being a part of a course that is driving revenue is also important, such as build anything in a day.
I love that. How can the people register for your classes or reach out to you to learn more? Where can they find you?
Yeah. So they can definitely find out more by going to classes.inspirelegacyai.com. They'll find every single class that I have there. Also, you can find me on my socials, which is at Jack's Business. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just going to give the handle, and right off the top of my head. Spot that. I'm like, is it Jack's thing or
Like,
is it
what is
Jack's?
it?
Is it Jack's business? What? Like, what? So Jack's Executive Boardroom. Jack's Executive Boardroom is where you'll find a lot of the courses, or just like what we're doing from an AI perspective. You can find that on Facebook. You can find it on Instagram. And also just by following me, because I will talk about stuff as well, which is at Keitano, KEI_TANO. And that's where you'll find me as well as the things that I'm working on and all my links. Yeah.
Well, Coach Kyle, the king of AI, thank you so much for coming on Soul Shift Sessions podcast and giving us an in-depth, informative insight into using AI to help support creativity, to help you support your business, and being able to help with the AI mindset and shifting towards that. If there was something that stood out to you today in today's conversation, please put it in the comment section. If you know someone that can use a soul shift or who may need more information about how to get started with AI, please make sure you share this podcast with them. And always, as usual, we would love for you to visit www.soulshiftsessions.com to join the tribe or even join the conversation and be a guest. You know what? I'm going to charge you to share this with 3 people today that you know can use a soul shift. Coach Kyle, you're now back in the host seat. Do you have any final words for the listeners today?
I had one and I changed it because of the nature of our conversation. Okay. And so this is a good one. Learning never exhausts the mind.
Dropping gems. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge. We appreciate you coming on and sharing that information. And guys, always remember to let your soul glow. Until next time.